Hey y'all, and welcome to Politbro. My name is Brian, and Senator Barasso doesn't just shut down Chuck Schumer, he destroys his entire worldview point by point in front of the rest of the Senate. Let's dive in.
Foreign aid helps farmers. It helps American researchers. It helps U.S. businesses. And more importantly, American aid is vital to holding the line against the Chinese Communist Party and Vladimir Putin. If Republicans eviscerate foreign aid, our adversaries will celebrate America's retreat and move to fill the vacuum. The worst part is that these recession cuts are the beginning only. This package, as bad as it is a piece of a larger puzzle for Republicans. Their goal is to use rescissions, impoundment, and pocket rescissions to eradicate any bit of bipartisanship out of appropriations, and will pave the way for deeper and even more serious spending cuts. Are they going to make more cuts to Medicaid? Are they going to make more cuts to education or nutrition services or aid for veterans? Republicans didn't bat an eye when adding $4 trillion to the debt to lower billionaires' taxes, but suddenly, when it comes to local news and rural radio stations, they suddenly balk. They say it's waste. That's disgusting.
It's astonishing as I come to the floor to listen to the Democrat minority leader. We just heard his comments about foreign aid keeping Russia and China at bay. If it were only the case. The minority leader has a long and spirited history of wasting American taxpayer dollars. Now he wants to send taxpayer dollars overseas to pay for climate projects and vegan food programs. Apparently that's what he means when he talks about foreign aid keeping Russia and China at bay. He forgot to mention that he wants to spend $500,000 to put electric vehicles, electric buses, on the streets of Rwanda. He forgot to mention that he wants to spend $6 million on net zero cities in Mexico. He forgot to mention that he wants to continue to spend over $100,000 for media training in Liberia. Mr. President, I ask, how does that keep Russia and China at bay? Failed to mention that he wants to continue to spend $3.3 million on civic engagement in Zimbabwe. Didn't say any of that because there's no good reason at all for that kind of wasteful Washington spending. None of this spending helps farmers or ranchers in my home state of Wyoming. None of this spending helps struggling families. In November, Americans voted to end this wasteful Washington spending. The voters got it right. Chuck Schumer gets it wrong. How many people went to the polls and told politicians to spend $7.4 million of their hard-earned money on teaching foreign countries about environmental racism? No one. Democrats love to hide behind fear-mongering, and that's what the minority leader has done again today. Democrats never stand up and defend their spending on the merits. I don't see Democrats coming to the floor and talking about those projects that they want to see continued because they know it doesn't hold up to the least amount of public scrutiny. The American people look at this, and for them the issue is quite simple. Their taxpayer dollars are being wasted and have been wasted for a long time. And the Democrats in this body want to continue wasting them. We still have families digging out from the worst inflation in 40 years. We have cities overwhelmed by illegal immigrants and the crime that they are bringing to these communities. People deserve to have their taxpayer dollars spent on issues that are focused on their priorities. President Trump sent Congress a proposal to rein in some of the worst wasteful spending. How did the Democrats respond? Well, they're threatening to shut down the government of the United States. Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to protect programs most Americans didn't know even existed. When Senator Schumer was the majority leader of the United States Senate a year ago, the Senate Appropriations Committee, the committee itself, passed 11 of 12 appropriations bills. They did it by the summer of 2024, 1 year ago from now. Many of those bills that came through the committee received unanimous support by the Republicans and the Democrats on the committee. So what happened? Well, Republicans supported getting all these bills done on time through the committee, bipartisan basis. What did he do? What did Senator Schumer do with these bills? He was the majority leader. He had control of the agenda of the floor of the United States Senate. He sat on them for 225 days. Didn't bring them to the floor of the United States. Oh, no. Refused to bring a single bill to the floor of the United States Senate for a single vote. Not because he couldn't, because he refused to. The American voters revolted, changed parties to the president, the Senate, and the House. And now he wants to be the one to blame Republicans for gridlock. This is the height of hypocrisy.
Well, if it wasn't for double standards, the Democrats would have none at all. And I know that I harp on the Democrats are bad on this channel quite a lot, and, well, I'm going to be honest, it's kind of deserved. Just look at the difference between the two speeches here. Chuck Schumer speaks in generalities, and yes, I know he got less airtime in this little clip, where we got to keep things at least a little bit brief. But he's talking in generalities. Oh, farmers will suffer. Rural stations, radio stations will suffer. And then John Barrasso comes up and he starts talking about point after point where the money's actually going. He mentioned money being used in Liberia, in Zimbabwe. There are places that we've never even heard of that even I can't point out on a map, and I'm a geography buff. We are wasting our money on a theory called soft power. And Chuck Schumer was also fear-mongering about that ideal as well. So why don't we start there? Because we know about the double standards, we know about Democrats. The reality is, the idea of soft power is a good idea in theory. However, it has been completely misused and abused by people in the American political class that want to scratch a few backs, want to make their friends a little bit more loyal to the system, so they give them these weird cushy jobs with these NGOs, non-governmental organizations. They take this money, they might do some good on the world stage, all under the guise of something called soft power. And that's where you project power from your own benevolence to the rest of the developing world. And it doesn't work. The very theory is nice, but if we were going by theories, communism would work now, wouldn't it? Okay, no, even the theory is bad, but you get what I'm trying to say here. The whole point of projecting soft power, however, the one that the Democrats keep talking about is, if we don't do this, the Chinese will. The Chinese Communist Party will. Okay, there's something called the Belt and Road Initiative. And that is where China will take an overland route across the Tibet Plateau and across the Gobi Desert and get their wares and start selling them to the rest of Central Asia, Europe if they can, and of course, the Saudis and the developing parts of the Middle East. And they want to do that in order to bypass the West. And the reason I'm getting geopolitical here is because Chuck Schumer kind of brought it up. The whole idea that China keeps on projecting power comes from their own idea that they want to retake the mantle as rulers of the world. For about 2,000 years, China, sort of by default, demanded the majority of world trade. They dictated it. Quite literally, we came to them for silk. We came for them for different wares, for different goods. But in the 1850s to about 1950, they had something that they call the Century of Humiliation. And that is the West completely surpassed them, and now China's looking for any way that they can. So what they'll do, they'll go to a third world country and say, we'll build your infrastructure, but you need to make good deals for us. And we don't do that. We inherently don't do that. Our system is entirely different. We force everyone to buy oil in US dollars. That's the way we sort of run the world economy. China has tried to change the game, and it doesn't really work. Those nations don't really get improved, and instead our solution to this problem is to have these weird funds go to places like Liberia and Mozambique and Zimbabwe for gender puppet shows. That's literally the kind of stuff that gets funded from USAID. And they're currently arguing over defunding places like PBS and NPR, and we've got to talk about that issue as well. They deserve it. I hate to say it, but Sesame Street keeps on going in the red, and it's not a naturally profitable show. It's a good one for developing children to start understanding things. I have a certain love in my heart for PBS, but NPR's, I think it was their former CEO or major higher up, had major criticisms about this time last year of the organization for going too far to the left, going a little too crazy, and not having any balanced voices. And the moment he made that public, he got fired. And now the CEO of NPR has come forward and just got blasted by the rest of the senators and congressmen for being just so terrible at her job. That's what Chuck Schumer is attempting to defend, but I think that's the worst part about this whole little debate here. You have Barasso talking about what's actually happening. And he's from a rural state, mind you. A state where their people probably need a little bit more infrastructure because it's tougher to get stuff through Wyoming. Have you ever driven through it? I certainly have. I'll never forget the lightning storms I drove through on the vast expanse of the High Plains Desert. But y'all, Barasso knows that we also have something called the internet. And we've expanded this access so much to where I am now talking to you through a phone. I'm not talking through a camera. I'm projecting this through a phone camera. We have this technology. We have these abilities to look elsewhere than government now. We have that freedom. We have that ability. So Chuck Schumer isn't just stuck in the past. He's fear-mongering about something that is no longer necessary. And meanwhile, Barasso's out here saying, this is what the logistics look like. This is where our money has actually been going. And Chuck Schumer's bad at his job. And he's 3 for 3 for that. And I'll take 3 for 3 just about any time than going 0 for 4 and a golden sombrero like Chuck Schumer here. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.